Hello, folks. Hope you're doing well. I'm back with a new session today. We are going to discuss how to develop an effective positioning strategy, right? So, the emphasis on developing and positioning strategy would be centered around services today. That would be interesting because we have discussed quite a lot about products and how marketing of products is done and all. Today, the emphasis would be on developing an effective positioning strategy. Okay, let's go and see. Now, what are we going to learn? The major point or the learning outcome for today's session is going to be position a service to distinguish it from its competitors. How do I, position a service to distinguish it from my competitors, right? First and foremost, let us understand what is positioning, right? Because it's one of a very fuzzy areas to understand what positioning is. Because positioning, probably it sounds like a rank, but we are not talking about the position or the rank. Here, positioning means what image does my customer carry about me, my brand, my product, or my services in his mind, right? What is the image the customer has, or the perceived image? Okay, that's more precise. The perceived image that my customer carries about me, or my product, or my brand, or my service in his mind. That's what is positioning, right? The moment I say Raymond's, you feel immediately you get that image of a complete man, right? That's what is positioning. When I say Santoor, the moment I say Santoor, you think of that mummy thing, right? So the mummy wala sabun, so that kind of a thing, that's what is positioning, right? So when we are talking about positioning of services, this is what we are going to discuss. Okay, so when we are talking about service industry, the moment I say SBI, okay, State Bank of India, what do we get? What kind of image? Probably, I could be wrong, but probably this is what most of us carry. It's the same image: a lethargic, bureaucratic organization. Like whenever I go, people, the staff is on lunch, right? So this is the kind of image that old people, lazy people, lousy people, but it's a huge bank, right? So anyway, that's what, how do we position our services to distinguish ourselves from our competitors? This is what we are going to learn. So four simple principles, very, very simple principles. Keep them in mind. Number one, a company must establish a position in the minds of its targeted customers. This is quite obvious, right? Any particular service, if it doesn't have, or the customer doesn't have any image of that particular product or service in his mind, it's of no use, right? Because tomorrow when he decides to buy that product or a service, and that he doesn't have any image or impression about that particular service in his mind, definitely that won't be coming or appearing in his consideration set to buy. When he goes to buy, he won't buy because he simply had no impression or image about it, right? Number two, the position should be singular, providing one simple and consistent message. The image that is created should be simple and singular. It cannot be a chaos that can be carried or created in the minds of the consumer. When I say Sasta Sundar Tikau, right? You must have heard of it, right? Is it Sasta? Or is it Sundar? Or is it Tikau? What is it? Tell the customer. The customer should have that singular image in the mind, right? So should I buy this just because it's sasta or cheap? Should I buy it just because it is sundar, that is beautiful? Or should I buy it just because it's tikau, that is durable? Why should a customer buy that product or service? That's very important, right? So you need to make it quite clear by providing that singular reason, that singular image in the minds of the customer. Why should he buy that product? What does this product, what does this service stand for? Okay, Every time I have the tendency to call it a product, but yeah, for any service industry, everything is a product for them. Like in a banking, a saving account is a product for them. In a restaurant, all the food items they serve, they are product. So yeah, so the point is, you have to understand that you need to have that singular image created in the minds of the consumers for the services you create, right? Then the position must set a company apart from its competitors. Now, whatever you are creating, the image that you are creating for your services, that should distinguish you from the crowd, from the rest of the players in the market, from the rest of the competitors in the market, right? It should not be overlapping. It should not be reminiscent of some other service. It should be unique. The moment the customer thinks about any service, instantaneously the customer should be thinking of you, right? Recently, I was just today itself, okay, I was reading an article about how a Bangalore based, Bangalore or Coimbatore based, I suppose, okay, a Coimbatore based brand called Daily Basket, okay, it tried to replicate the entire business model of Big Basket, and Big Basket tried to sue it, and it entirely resulted in corporate bullying and all. Now the point is, Daily Basket or Big Basket. Now Daily Basket, do you think it's going to create that unique image, something quite distinct from that of Big Basket? Probably not. So these kind of things should be avoided, okay? So when you are positioning, you have to make it quite clear, very unique, and very distinct, so that there won't be any kind of confusion in the minds of the consumers, right? And then comes the fourth mantra, that's a company cannot be all things to all people, okay? You shouldn't be interested in pleasing everyone. Everyone in the market is not your customer. So even if there are people who hate you, it doesn't matter much, because probably everyone is not your customer. It's very important to understand who your target customer is and how they perceive your products. Okay. So just focus your efforts to please only those customers. Those particular set of customers whom you are targeting must have high esteem about your services. That's quite important. Okay. For instance, let me just, you know, uh, any simple saving account in HSBC Bank, okay, that would be a minimum deposit of around 50,000 rupees. Okay. Now, if any middle class salaried person scoffs at a product of HSBC, a savings bank product, a savings bank account, they're saying who would actually buy a or have a savings account with 50,000 minimum balance? He would make fun of it. Okay, he may not have any, a positive opinion about it, but actually for HSBC, he is not the target customer. So it hardly matters for HSBC whether that person likes their service or not, because he is not their target customer. Okay, so that's what you have to understand. You shouldn't be you shouldn't be focusing your efforts to please everyone. Okay, that's quite important. And then when you are working out your positioning strategy, it helps the marketing managers as well as the entire management to understand and answer a few questions. Very simple, I'll run through them. Number one, what does our firm currently stand for in the minds of the current and potential customers, right? So when I start working on positioning, when I start understanding what the positioning of my firm is, I get to know what the current customers, the existing customers think about me, what kind of image they carry about me, and at the same time, what kind of image do my potential customers may have about me. And then, what customers do we serve now, and which ones would we like to target in the future? Okay, so when we are working on positioning, it's again very helpful to understand who my customers are, right? Which target segment I'm serving, and who could I target in the future? Would there be any unilateral, or would I be moving in the same direction, or would I be taking any deviation or divergence and try to target someone else? So these kind of decisions could be taken once I start understanding the positioning I have. Number three, what is the value proposition for each of our customers' current service offerings, and what market segments is each one targeted at? Yeah, this is what we were discussing quite a lot, right? Target segment. You don't need to please everyone. Now, you have to understand what is the value proposition. If somebody is buying my service, why is he buying that service? What value are we delivering to? Okay. Now, for instance, if I have any relationship SBI, a relationship with SBI, probably I may have a relationship with SBI just because it's a government public sector bank, number one, or probably just because it has a great network, right? So that's the value proposition for us. For instance, let us say I'm here in Punjab. In Punjab, there is a small little bank called uh, Capital Small Finance Bank. Okay, I have a small relationship with that bank just because only reason is they are functional on Sundays. Okay, I probably on any Sunday probably I may need a banking facility, so I just maintain a small relationship with that bank just because their value proposition is that they function on Sundays, right? So, what is the value proposition for each of our current service offerings? Whatever service I'm offering, what is the value proposition? Understand that, okay? And how is that value proposition, you know, affecting or targeting my target customers? Now, is that value proposition valuable for my target customers? That's again very, very interesting and important. Now, how does each of our service products differ from those of our competitors? We have discussed that, right? So, how are my products or service products different from my from the products of my competitors? So, what is the value proposition? What do my customers, benefit from when they prefer my service vis-a-vis my competitor's service? And then comes, how well do customers in the chosen target segments perceive our service offerings as meeting their needs? Now, when they experience my service, do they feel satisfied? Do they think that their needs are satisfied? If yes, we are doing a good job, right? And then they carry a positive image if that needs are met. And what changes do we need to make to our service offerings in order to strengthen our competitive position within our target segments? After doing all this, after understanding all these, I get to know what improvements I can make, what modifications I can make, what changes I can make, what additional things should I do in order to create that strength, create that competitive position within my target segments, right? So these are some questions which could be answered while you're working on your positioning strategy, right? So I hope you found this session to be useful and interesting. If yes, do like, share, and subscribe. Spread the good word. Thank you. Bye bye. See you soon.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.